I'm just waiting for the, there they are, the visual for tonight. So, well, thank you everybody for coming along such a cold night. The talk is most definitely about pussy pleasures, which is a guide to the erogenous zones in the vulva. And I'm really excited to be doing this. I mean, for me, it brings together two of my passions. One is about learning about sex, all the things that turn me on and other people, and the other one is about information and sharing, so that we know more, so we expand all our choices. And I was thinking about relevance, and I reckon the talk on pussy pleasures is actually relevant to every single person here, because either you have a pussy yourself, or or you may be lovers with people who have pussy, or you might think, oh, no. And then to that I would say, well, really, you cannot be sure of exactly what anyone has between their legs, especially here at Bar Wotever. And for all of us too, we really don't know what our sexual future holds for us. So, I'm just trying to think what the next bit was that I was going to say. I know, it's just coming to me. Oh, yeah. So it was, it's just... No, it's to do with the fact that got me started on this talk. It's a biological fact that I got excited about. So it's starting with cock. You know when the cock gets really hard and swollen? That's all called erectile tissue there that's swelling up as there's blood that goes into it and feels particularly sensitive and really good. Well, the fact is that there's exactly the same amount of that erectile tissue on a pussy as on a cock. It's dotted around in lots of different places. And so my aim tonight is for us to all, at the end of this, be really clear about where all those gorgeous places are and have some ideas of how they might be aroused. So if we move to the next slide. This was to remind me that although the focus here is on pussies, I am not in any way encouraging any of us to go straight to pussy without getting our lovely body turned on. The whole body and our mind and our feelings and everything else. But now let's go to pussies. We go to Now, here I'm going to introduce this I got at a pet shop. You never guess what it is. It is a cat tease. And I told it was just a couple of days ago, and I said it's for a project I'm doing on pussies. So here we go. So I thought we'd orientate ourselves first. Now, within this room, we've got a variety of experiences. Some of us will be totally familiar with the pussy, and some of us less so. So, just a quick recap. So just to say, the whole area is actually, oh, I love this. The whole area is called a vulva, not a vagina. So the vagina itself is just this cute little bit here, and that's the opening. And for anyone who hasn't felt inside the vagina, if you were ever to put a finger or two inside, it actually feels like the inside of the cheek. I think those of us with pussies will kind of agree with that, yeah? Kind of soft, usually moist. We've got a lovely clip here. Yes. Well, yes, usually as you get older, you get drier. Okay, we've got the head of the clitoris there, and then now the clitoris itself, right, is really quite big. So we've got the clit head that's very, very sensitive with a hood over it. Then we've got the shaft here, and then all the way down the side, invisibly, we've got the legs of the clitoris that also feel very good. We've got the invisible, very hard to see opening here of the urethra, which is the little slit that the urine comes through. And then we've got, these are our lips here on the side, which are very sensitive and protect the area. And then here is our anus. And just to recap, because sometimes, people have got confused sometimes, seriously. So I just want to make sure that we're all clear where everything is. And to point out as well that, just like faces, everybody's everybody's pussy is slightly different, so sometimes it's quite common for like the lips to be asymmetrical and to have different sizes, to be quite big or small, clitoral heads change. Anyway, that's the medical map. Now if we move on to the next one, this is where we're starting to get this gorgeous erectile tissue. Now, I couldn't find the diagrams I wanted in the book, so I made one myself. So we've got that lovely vulva underneath that we've just gone over, and the first really underappreciated and not always known about in this way area, I'm going to talk about here and here. They're actually technically called vestibular bulbs. Now, I've yet to meet anybody who's ever heard the word vestibular bulb. I've tested my table and they haven't there. Now, for those of you with pussies, you know, or you may know, that lovely feeling of someone rush their thighs up in between yours or something, and it feels all quite good. That's because this area here is all being stimulated. So a vestibular bulb they're actually, so you can't see them, they're an area of flesh that rests beneath this bit, right, all this lovely soft area here, and it goes down, it kind of surrounds the whole vagina by a couple of inches, and it also goes down the vagina as well by an inch or so, the first third of the vagina. And as you pressure it, so usually hard to medium type of pressure, so with your whole hand, or squeezing, or rubbing, or medium kind of up and down, what is happening there is that we're bringing lots of blood to the surface there, and it's expanding and giving us extra pleasure, and kind of, I've had it described as a fanny hard-on. I think it's something we could bring in. And it's particularly, there's a couple of things that come up for that. So one of the reasons that sometimes people may not want to, not be in the mood for vaginal penetration, one reason, a quite common one, is that actually this area hasn't been fully stimulated. And another thing around that stimulation too, which is interesting for those who like having cocks penetrate them, is that it's a reason that it doesn't matter how long a cock is, because really it's only the first third of the vagina that's got the most sensitivity in it. So really, as long as it goes in that far, that's okay. And then in terms of width, again, one of the main things from the vagina's point of view is like, has this area on the outside been stimulated enough to make sure that it puffs out inside? So that's a fabulous plumping areas here that need to have attention given to them. Then moving up here to a lovely clit, and the clit shaft. So that's the bit, for those who are less familiar with that, that's the bit where you can feel it just under the flesh there, kind of like a light root or a piece of string or something like that, and that often responds well to like being tapped or rubbed. I'm just noting, I've put down here, around the edge here, under those bulbs, those are the legs of the clit. So whilst you're also stimulating all the flesh on the outside here, they're getting touched as well underneath. So if we move to our next slide. Yeah, 6 o'clock. Okay, so this is something I've come across a couple of times, and I find it really quite fun. Some call this a clit clock. So if you imagine here, with my little cat teeth, my pussy teeth, in the middle of that is the head of the clitoris, the bit that feels really, really sensitive. And then, sorry, I have to do this, I just have to use my hand. There, right. So then if you imagine just a couple of millimetres above it, we're going to make that 12 o'clock, so going up towards my tummy, that direction, and then going towards your anus, we'll make that 6 o'clock, but again, only a couple of millimetres. And imagine like a circle going all the way around the clit. So it can be quite interesting to stimulate that, sort of 1 time, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, but you stimulate it with a finger, or with a tongue, or with a vibrator, and to actually notice, you can do this on yourself if you have a pussy or if you're with a partner, and to take the time and to think, what feels good? Typically, many people find that they find sort of 2 or 3 o'clock a particular turn on, but bodies are all different, so like it's quite good to have an explore and see. And something else that brings up, if you are doing that with a partner, is some people are quite used to talking about sex and getting feedback, and really culturally, most people aren't. It's good to sort of recognise that it can be a bit embarrassing, perhaps if you're not used to doing that, but it does get easier if you keep talking about things, and it does lead to a better experience because you're more likely to get what you want. So, let's move on to the next slide. Now, okay, well, I can move on. We'll get away from hands now. Oh no, I might go back to hands. So, these are like the 2 hotspots that I'm picking up on inside the vagina. So again, this, I know it doesn't sound sexy, but it is erectile tissue, that lovely stuff that swells up. So we've got one here called the G-spot that people will be familiar with hearing about. Many people are really clear about their G-spot, and others don't quite find it, doesn't really work for them. One important thing about it is that generally you have to be really, really, really turned on to find it. Oh, by the way, I'm just aware that I'm saying this, I'm very aware as an audience, again, that you've got a wide range of experiences and knowledge yourself. I mean, yeah. Okay, alright. So, I kind of don't want to sort of teach my grandmother to suck eggs, but I'm just covering all the basics here now. So, now where are we? For the G-spot, right. So mega turns on. It's on the inside at the top, the roof bit of the vagina, and if you go in an inch or 2, and it feels like the roof of the mouth. So the skin goes from being smooth to being a bit ridged. And movements that can work, if you say with a partner, fingers can work particularly well, quite focused. Say with like a beckoning move like that, rhythmic, quite hard. It's true. And I have to say, every single thing I say yes has been thoroughly researched. In every way. I have the book. I have the gorgeous Jo over there who's been a fantastic research assistant. So that's it. Oh, another tip I find about G-spot that may or may not work for you, but having your legs bent, it kind of just sort of moves your pelvis a bit forward, but that's something to try. And in terms of dildos, hard ones, and again, a kind of, they're often a twisting movement can do well, but explore and work it out for yourself. Now, alongside there, with that kind of stimulation, some people find that they get a female ejaculation of some liquid coming out. It may just sort of dribble out, or a wonderful spurt out, or many of us it doesn't happen at all. And just to clarify a few facts about that, one is it comes from the urethra where the wee comes out, but it is not urine, absolutely not. It is an alkaline substance, and it's quite similar in the chemical makeup to seminal fluid. And also, if it's something that you want to explore and you're not ejaculating and you want to, there are ways that you can find out about that and develop that skill. Now, moving down to here, this is a less known spot called the perineal sponge. So, it's kind of just opposite so if we have a G-spot at the top part of the vagina, we've got this sponge is just underneath at the bottom of the vagina, again about an inch or so in, again you have to be really, really turned on, and again typically sort of quite medium to firm pressure, but see what your body is like, and that can feel fabulous. And then, I was told this isn't erotic, but I don't care. I'm just going to put it because I'm fascinated with reasons for this. You see, there are reasons behind all of this, that what this erectile tissue here is doing is it's protecting parts. So this is protecting the urethra at the top, the G-spot, and this perineal sponge is protecting the anus there. So when there's a lot of thrusting inside the vagina, so hence that's why they come into play. They're quite deep. They come into play when you're really turned on. So, if we move on to the next slide, that's it, yes. So I've covered all my bits, so just recap. So, we had whole body being turned on, then we had the really undervalued, gorgeous vestibular bulbs, I'm just remembering all the language I'm not supposed to use, but all that delightful soft flesh all over the vulva. Then we had the clitoris, both the clitoral shaft, that bit of ribbon, to kind of play around with that. And there's that lovely click-clock as well to have fun with. Then inside the vagina, exploring the G-spot at the top, and that lovely sponge at the bottom when being very turned on. And then I just wanted to put down here, and I've got these as handouts if anybody's interested, but some fabulous, fabulous resources for if you want to go further. So, what can I say? So there's stuff about, say, on the, just straightforwardly the things that I've been saying, and that's really sex education. I love Sherry Winston, her Women's Anatomy of Arousal, and Scarlet Teens, this website here, Sex Education for Teens and 20s. Oh, brilliant, it's brilliant. Yes, but thank you. Women's Anatomy of Arousal, Sex by Heather Karina, the one who does Scarlet Teen. And then, for like some of the stuff on touching, because I just went through that briefly, but there's a whole lot out there about wonderful erotic ways of touching yourself, kind of erotic massage that comes from Tantra and also sex workers. And I recommend here Barbara Carellis, been around since the 80s, Urban Tantra. Really, everything I have here is very accessible. And also online, Annie Sprinkle. She's got this, good taste. She's got a fabulous, very old, really quite dated on the hairstyles, DVD, but the content is brilliant. And she's done it with Joseph Kramer, who's also big respect. It's quite good to actually physically see some erotic massage being done. And then I've also recommended Betty Dodson, and here I've got my history, we like her history. She's been around since the 70s. She was doing women's masturbation groups in the 70s and onwards. So she's in her 80s now, and she's got quite a few, what do you call them, things like on YouTube, you know, just clips, interviews with her on subjects. So I really recommend her on that website. And then also, if you want to go further, we've got some workshops here in London with a regular Bar Wotever called Amanda Gaylor. Yes, some Amanda fans. So she's either got blonde or ginger hair that's sort of kind of wavy there. Anyway, she's great, and she does conscious sex workshops, which are incredibly safe and welcoming and really good on boundaries. So you can go in with a partner, without a partner, because it's on boundaries. It's all about you go as far or not as far as you want. It's all around respecting that. And she's got some dates coming up in May, and I think a couple in April in the evening. So those are the resources that I recommend for you. And that's it. Thank you very much.
For the lovely Deirdre.
Or if anyone has anything they want to say, they want to add, they want to dispute.
What is it like in the bed, shy again? Come on, people, we're talking about pussy. Someone say something. Have you got something to say? Okay.
I just sort of wanted to add that something I've read about as well, levels of pressure, because it's something that I find that some people have different levels of pressure that they like touch, and sometimes I find that some people are very scared of like putting on a higher level of pressure, and it's just about like communicating what people want, and where they have a way they would like to be touched as well.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah. I'd second what the last commenter said. Sometimes you're just like, damn it, fucking squeeze it. It's just got to be said.
I just wanted to say a quick thing about the whole ejaculation thing. You can learn it. Just like that, you can learn it. It takes practice, but you can learn it. It's amazing. Hello, Stephanie. Hi. Just a point in terms of the slide. I'd like to see a greater variety of pussies because they are so different. And there's a lot of women who don't see many of the pussies, particularly straight women, and they're going in for these ridiculous operations to tidy them up and make them symmetrical because they don't look like the ones they've seen in magazines. So I'd just like people to be more aware of the variety of them and not to be think that's what it should look like.
Thank you. That's a really good point, and I will take it on board. I tell you, I'm shy. Oh, am I shy really? Because I didn't want to just take anonymous ones off the internet. So the ones I have permission for. So I need to expand my range of pussies. And people that will give me permission to take their photo. I'd be delighted because I agree with you. I feel really passionately, and it's lovely to see different pussies. It really is. Yeah.
All creative commons on pussy.
Hello, Teresa.
How about a project on your next one? You could take pictures of all our pussies anonymously and show them. I mean, I just think that's a really good
That would be a good idea, right? Yeah, we could stop today. Would you like to do that? Oh, God. Would you like to be the resident whatever cunt photographer? I wasn't really listening. Oh, that's true. We could have Joey's little comment underneath it.
No, I'd like to do something with that, yeah.
Come out, it's born or whatever. Is there anyone else? Anyone else want to ask a question? No? Oh, hello. Hello. It's not really a question, it was just more of a comment as well. Some people seem really like obsessed with the clitoris. And like sometimes it's just like too much and it's like, hey, you know, there's lots of other things going on there, and I quite like that about your talk. It wasn't clitoris oriented really, and that's quite nice and refreshing.
Oh, and that reminds me of a couple of other facts. One is that there's 15,000 nerve ends in the pussy. Thank you, Teresa, for making me go and research that, which is about twice as many as a cock. So there's a lot of pleasure down there. And the other one, as I was looking through all my books and things, it really struck me there isn't much scientific research about pleasure. They can disagree about things that come up because they haven't looked at it, they haven't got evidence for it. And I just find that amazing that they don't know about something as basic as vulvas and how they work for pleasure. It's all there on reproduction and sexually transmitted STIs, but not for pleasure. But don't worry, places like us and Tantra and sex workers do know a lot, so there are places for us to go.
Can we give it up for Deirdre speaking up?
Handouts and resources if everybody wants to.
We've got pamphlets. It's amazing. Oh, I'm feeling a bit hot and bothered after that. Okay, so we're going to do community news now. So I know Teresa wanted to say something. Is there anyone else that wants